Let's go boom.
Hey everyone, welcome back. This is IMTS 2022. We're here chilling at the Creators Lounge at booth 338-600, and we are doing our last Creators Lounge interview. Are you guys sad? We're sad. We're going to miss it. So we got Emma Betters from the Oak Ridge National Labs. I got to join this interview. James, I'm coming to join you. Let's go.
You got to join this. This is going to be great.
Hi, Emma.
Hi, Megan. How's it going?
How are you doing?
Doing great.
I'm going to shut the door.
Tennessee. We're both from Tennessee.
Indeed.
Oh, my goodness. This is great. Emma, thanks for joining us in the IMTS Plus Creators Lounge. We are excited like this to hang out and have a little chat.
Absolutely.
Wrap up IMTS.
Yeah, it's been a great week.
So, Megan.
Yes. I think this is
Zimba?
working. Yep, it's working.
Megan
There we go.
Zimba.
Yes.
You were so excited.
I was.
I'm so excited.
I've actually had Emma on Mavens.
Yeah,
Yes, she
absolutely.
was
We had a
amazing.
great chat.
She was a Mavens guest. She was educating me on everything that she does at the laboratory.
Was it like?
Yeah, I mean, she's incredible. She knows her stuff. You tell your story. I don't want to tell it for you.
So Emma Betters,
Yes, sir.
who are you and what is your superpower?
My superpower. That is a great question. I think kind of in this industry, it might be a little bit similar to some other people's superpower, but I think functioning on a lack of sleep is definitely helpful here.
So you have the superpower that you can function without sleep.
For a pretty ongoing period of time.
And functioning without sleep is highly relatable at an IMTS, wouldn't you all say?
Yeah,
I agree.
absolutely.
So for the rest of us, tell us a little bit about you and your journey, and and a little bit about your story about what brings you here to this moment.
Yeah, absolutely. So I did my undergraduate degree at the University of Florida. Most of the students there go through a design and manufacturing laboratory. That was kind of my first introduction into manufacturing, kind of what metal cutting was. I fell in love with it. I decided I wanted to go to graduate school and continue learning more. Went to the University of North Carolina at Charlotte under Dr. Tony Schmitz. He got a joint appointment between the University of Tennessee and Oak Ridge National Lab and brought us with him. So the building that I work at Oak Ridge was traditionally pretty focused on additive manufacturing. About 3 years ago, started to get more specialized in subtractive or traditional manufacturing and started our group. So I've been there for about 3 years now.
One of us. I'm just geeking out. What am I doing in this interview? This is just too amazing. I'm not worthy.
Yeah, so I actually have a connection to Tony too, because I used to work with making chips, and Tony came in and he really specializes in like vibration in machines and really trying to troubleshoot what happens to machines and tools when they're running, and helps really create standards for preventative maintenance. So he's an incredible human being. So anyone that works under him, I think, is just as incredible, because he has a high standard of what he's looking for and what he wants to do. So I was really excited to talk to Emma when she came on to Mavens and learned so much. So she's doing really good things, and she's already a leader, but she's going to continue being a great leader. And the next generation is set if they work under her.
So I'm sitting here being filled in by this wonderful conversation. And so every superhero has the superpower, and yours is the lack of sleep. You have, sounds like, a great team and people to work with and mentors. And along your journey, because we'll talk about that mission to save the world that you're on, so we can understand exactly like how you do, like how it's applied. But in your journey, as someone who is in the manufacturing and research and innovation sphere, who has helped you and guided you along the way to this point, as a mentor, as a guide? Who are some of those special people?
Yeah, I think I can kind of track that through a pretty straightforward list. Obviously, my parents were a big influence growing up. My grandfather was a really big influence in kind of getting me started doing hands-on things, building rockets as a little kid.
ST's rockets?
I'm sorry?
ST's rockets or like for real rockets?
Water bottle rockets.
Nice.
Yeah, we had a
nice.
really good time. Had a high school physics teacher that really influenced me into getting into mechanical engineering kind of in the first place. Like I said, I had that mentor at the University of Florida, Mike Braddock, who introduced me to Tony Schmitz, who's been a fantastic mentor. Could not ask for a better list of people to work under, and Scott Smith. It's just been a really good adventure.
Oh my goodness! I have a 20-year-old daughter, and she's at NYU right now, and it's just so great to see these journeys of how hard, and it's hard work in each one of those steps to get along that way. So as you're out there, you've had your traditional 6 hours of sleep at best, and now someone needs to save the world. So there at Oak Ridge, what are you doing? Like more in an applied sense every day, generally speaking on subtractive, but, what are some of the things that are happening, whether it's here at IMTS, but, what is really the mission that you're on?
Yeah, so I think the thing that we're showing at IMTS here today, or this week, really does kind of convey that mission a little bit. So a lot of our funding comes from the Department of Defense. We kind of fall under this program called ACE, America's Cutting Edge. I think Tony was in here yesterday. He probably talked to you a little bit about the workforce development part of that. But kind of one of the other big things we're focusing on is reshoring, and how do we develop new technology in the U.S., but how do we kind of bring that back here? So the thing we're showing here is actually a kind of take on a traditional large-scale casting. So we built a machine tool at Oak Ridge, kind of looking at some alternative materials and methods for doing so. So getting big castings here is getting really difficult. So looking at some other ways that we can do that.
So is that big casting with the cement?
That is the big concrete machine tool that you saw over in the South Hall. Yes, sir.
So I think for everyone to really get a big picture of the value that provides, I think if you could describe like the cost comparison between doing it the traditional way of what a traditional casting would look like and how you had to, because I think you just shipped that here in one piece, so there wasn't really any construction that you had to do. It's a little heavier, but she mentioned that doesn't really cause any limitations on what the machine can actually do. But in terms of the cost component of it, it really can provide some value to small to medium.
Right?
Yeah. So if you can dive into that a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So what we did, as opposed to a traditional large-scale casting that you'd usually have as your base component, we actually leveraged some large-scale additive manufacturing that Oak Ridge kind of worked to help to develop several years ago. We used that to print a mold of the base structure, and that structure itself is a reinforced concrete. We still run the mill 7,000 psi, or trucking, me and one of my colleagues, and Dr. Schmitz, passing the hose around, filling up the parking lot. Like I said, the machine was about 20,000 pounds, a little bit heavier than a machine tool of a comparable size. But that's actually kind of beneficial for us. So you want the stationary parts on your machine to be heavy and the things that move to be light. So not really any problems there. Pretty comparable dynamic response to cast iron. It's a lot cheaper. So like we talked about there, about $1,200 worth of polymer, about $700 for the guy to come bring us a pump truck. So it's been a great time.
And on average, wouldn't like a traditional machine cost around like $250,000 or?
That's for something about that size, yeah. So for the base component itself, significantly cheaper. Getting a casting of that size in the U.S., I'll say next to impossible. Getting that imported is getting harder and harder. So what are some ways that we can do that here? Yeah,
absolutely. And, the industry really suffers from a challenge with capacity right now. So it's not just even the core innovation itself. It's like who can do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And ultimately, when you're telling these stories, what step in that story? So you know you're here to demonstrate the possibilities.
Yeah.
How are you documenting that story to get it out now? So even just the story of like, hey, there's a picture of us and the doctor. We're having some fun. But how do you see that what's the next step in this story?
Yeah, so kind of one of the big goals of being here, I think, is working with other industry partners and seeing how kind of parts of this technology can take off and be more useful to small mom and pop shops, other people that are trying to purchase those machine tools in the U.S.
Yep. Now, we support Manufacturing USA and through that the Manufacturing Institutes, IACME, and there's a connection there to
Yeah,
ACE.
absolutely.
And a big challenge we have is, and we're asked to do. You actually don't see our work in the front, but we're working with these folks who are in these institutes. They're talking about this research and these innovations, and we're working with the subject matter experts to get their story out. And so you'll see a lot of our ghostwriting, like in Industry Week and other kind of key technology news. So what are some of the stories that you're excited about that you've gotten out so far in your time at Oak Ridge?
Ooh, that is a great question. Yeah, so I've gotten to work on a whole variety of projects. Like I said, the machine tool that we have here has been kind of one of the big focuses over the last couple of years for us, kind of what we're trying to demonstrate there. The other aspects of that is kind of using small form machines to make large scale parts, which we're also demonstrating out on the floor down there. So lots of different ways we're kind of leveraging different technology, measurement aspects to get those kinds of parts built.
And that's just the stuff we know about. So, hey, let's just go like offline. We're going to get some top secret news here. There are some things that are pretty cool we don't know.
There are a lot of really cool things that we do. Yeah.
Okay. No, like,
I like how you're trying to
aliens
dig
and
it
stuff
out,
like that.
though.
Yeah, he's trying really hard.
A for
Yeah.
effort.
Yeah,
That
I
one.
appreciate that.
I know. It's like you have the job of filming The Mandalorian, episode 1 without, spilling the news of Baby Yoda. Want to hear an interesting story?
Absolutely.
Oh, I don't know if I can tell it. Hey, Noah, if you're in my ear, tell me yes. Can I tell the Baby Yoda story? Okay. So, we're here with Corporate Streams and our partner and live stream crew. They're fantastic. There's Justin. We got Austin in the back and Noah. And Noah was on the set of the filming, and he was on the crew for the filming of The Mandalorian. And so they had a big secret to keep.
Yeah.
Which was they couldn't see, like all these little procedures they went through, and they couldn't let the news out. But how tough is it when you have all those people working and not letting out the news that there's going to be a Baby Yoda? It would have ruined it, the surprise.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to stop on that note, and Noah was literally there. He was on that crew.
That's awesome.
So I'm going to stop, and I am not going to mess with you and your Baby Yoda.
I appreciate that.
Okay, good. So what questions do you have, Megan, for?
So the last time we talked, you were still going through your graduate program, correct?
Yep.
You're still going through that right now? Or
I
you
am,
done?
yes.
Okay.
So I'm still working on my PhD under Tony Schmitz right now.
Okay, so you're a huge part of their research and development stuff, and with women coming in, there's a lot of areas that we can improve on in terms of continuing to encourage women to get into engineering. And I know there's different types of engineering you can get involved with, but you decided to do the research and development part of it. So I really wanted to just get a better understanding of what it was about that portion that really attracted you to say, that's the spot for me, that's where I want to go. And how are you trying to inspire the next generation through the work that you do at Oak Ridge?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the big thing for me was that I really like the hands-on aspect of research. I liked that sometimes I do sit at a desk and I do data analysis for a little bit of time, but I still get to make chips. I still get to spend time on the shop floor. I still get to work on really cool projects, and I still get to see things go from design to final part and fly on rockets and make cool machine tools. That was a big thing for me. I think one of the things that I've kind of been discussing with a lot of other people is women are typically very good at detail-oriented work, and I think that is one of the things that we do need to kind of encourage a little bit more. Yeah, sometimes it is dirty on the shop floor, but sometimes that can be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So,
So when I was a kid, I grew up making mud pies. I liked getting dirty, so it wasn't an issue for me. So when people are like trying to have that as a negative part of manufacturing and engineering, and I'm like, but that's the fun part. Like, I
Absolutely.
like getting dirty and playing with metal and wood, so why can't other people like doing that? So
yeah.
I think we need to stop saying that that's one of the negatives
No, I
of
agree.
manufacturing.
Yeah, hands dirty, right? We say that for a reason.
Right,
You got to get your
right.
hands dirty, and that's exciting to see that you embrace that. And so, as you, what are you focused on for your PhD?
I am focused on milling stability prediction. So,
You're going to have to explain that to people
so
because I don't know what
Okay,
that
come on,
means.
trial run.
that's
Let's
okay.
go here.
No, trial
go.
run. Let's see what we can do.
30 seconds. Let's go.
Yeah. So one of the big things in milling applications is whether you get stable or unstable cutting. So every once in a while out here, you'll hear a little bit of chatter going on. We're trying to get away from those unstable zones. So how can we do that? Dr. Schmitz has looked for a long time at how we can measure those dynamics on a machine tool, but kind of starting to look now on how we can predict that ahead of time without having to do a measurement for every tool.
Predictive. AI.
Not so much AI.
More vibration
some modeling.
analysis
Yep,
and,
absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah. So instead of having an operator standing at a machine, turning the knob and turning the spindle speed up and down and trying to find a sweet spot, kind of know where that is ahead of time.
So you're going to automate the finding the sweet spot of vibration.
Some of that's already been done.
Yeah.
Do a lot of that through measurement right now.
Yep.
Kind of working on predicting that through some modeling efforts instead of so many measurement efforts.
Wow. And that can impact the design itself.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so many factors in the production process. Sounds like it could be a good little business for someone to be a billionaire.
See where things go.
Uh-oh, I think we're
So
seeing
do you
someone.
plan on staying in the whole research and development portion of things?
I
or
do.
after
I plan on staying at Oak Ridge for a while. I really like what I do. It's like engineering Disneyland. We get to see new machine tools come in and out all the time, from the additive space all the way through the subtractive space. We're kind of at the forefront, right? What else could I ask for?
Right.
So for what you can, you're exposed to a lot, and there's things you can talk about and not talk about, but ultimately, like, what excites you? Like, where do you see the future stories of where we're going with subtractive, or all of these kind of now hybrid combinations of processes and analytics? Like, what's exciting to you, and what do you, if we're at IMTS 2024, what's one of those things that you would predict to be here?
Yeah, I think hybrid is really taking off right now in kind of a more useful fashion, right? We started with additive and people were making kind of trinkets, and now we're starting to make parts that are real parts. Those parts do require subtractive processes though, so I think we are trying to understand a little bit more that hybrid is kind of where things are going. Yeah, I can have geometries that I couldn't get in a traditional method, but I am still having functional parts now by combining kind of what's old and new.
That sounds exciting. One of our influencers is Fabian Allefeld with EOS. I don't know if you know him,
Okay.
but he's definitely the best dressed man in all of our influencer team, and wonderful person.
And he's got great hair.
Fantastic hair. We may have his hair here, as we do. This
I mean, it's
is
so
Fabian
embarrassed if he
Allefeld.
sees it.
Everybody, look at this wonderful hair. Jelly. Okay, so, but what he talked about was that additive was such a small part, like 1%, or it was crazy of the total amount of manufacturing. You look by process. Where do you see additive coming? Do you have any insights into where you see additive, being in terms of, really the operationalization of it and the implementation of it, where it becomes a bigger part of the net, output of what things are made by what processes?
I I don't know that I can speak too much to
So
that
big-
right
that's
now.
a big
It is a big
question.
question. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know
More?
it is it is a little bit still in that kind of prototyping stage, small volume, things like that. From my perspective, at least, I think we're looking at different ways where additive can kind of fill the gap that casting has left behind in certain industries. And at least from my side, that's kind of where it is right now.
Yep. And you're starting to see with relativity
Relativity
space
space,
that
yep.
they're growing rockets, and they're starting to really find those larger applications, and that's where it's going to be really interesting. Mega castings for automotive, part reduction and reduction of complexity in manufacturing. What are that kind of the core applications overall, subtractive and additive? If you kind of really think about what are those core impact areas that you're seeing, the new technologies are going to be doing? Is it, there's lightweighting, there's, are there any specific areas you see that there's just the net impact areas where you're just going to see technologies in the next 2 years really shine?
Yeah, I think lightweighting is a good point on
Yep.
some of those. I think kind of meeting that lead time issue. I think lead time is kind of the buzz phrase for IMTS this year, as far as what I've heard coming through our booth. I think you see applications in the automotive space, in the space. But yeah, I think kind of filling all of those gaps right now. That lead time is kind of one of the big ones.
Yeah, time is money.
Yeah, absolutely.
So in terms of the lead time, what is a good average for additive manufacturing? Because I know that it can take longer for other processes depending on the part, but sometimes it's selected over other processes because it's just more cost efficient and it doesn't really matter the time that it takes. So what is a good lead time?
No, I think that's a really good point, and I think it depends a lot on part complexity and what that part looks like. Sometimes it is still easier to start with a block of material and machine
Cut
it.
it, yeah.
We need to not get away from that too much. Sometimes we get parts that people want to make via additive, and they just really don't need to be. So kind of leveraging it for what it's useful for and leaving it the traditional way for what it's not so useful for.
I wish Mitch Free was here. He's one of the co-founders of Fast Radius. He's CNC machining, and he always talks about, well, one, with additive, there's no tax for complexity, theoretically, and that, and he always said that if the part can be machined, it probably should for so many applications.
Yeah,
so to
absolutely.
your point, so we're just in such a great world, and we have a lot of opportunity for discovery. So just as we wrap up here, what excites you most about the future as you look forward?
I think there's a lot of space for new technology going forward. I will be interested to see how we do make parts kind of moving forward, and what this, I guess, kind of culminates in, how we find that middle ground between additive and subtractive a little bit more, kind of have a more cohesive environment.
That sounds exciting.
And she's right there, and she's going to probably see it firsthand before any of us do.
And you know
So
what?
I'm a little jealous about that.
Yeah, I'm a little jazzed that next time we meet, and I hope to see you again here at IMTS,
Maybe
Absolutely.
she can tell us a little Yoda secret. I don't know.
that
Maybe something will come to public.
little Yoda secret.
Do you like how
It's you're going to say, hey, that was happening when we met last time, but you'll have your PhD.
I sure hope so.
That's
And,
awesome.
and so why don't we make a point, if we see each other here, we'll celebrate your PhD.
Absolutely.
Okay.
love
Well, on
that.
that note, thank
Yeah.
you so much for
Yeah,
joining us,
I really
Emma.
appreciate it.
Thank you, Emma.
This is it, the penultimate interview. So we want to thank everybody for tuning in and watching the IMTS Plus Creators Lounge. We are all creators is the hashtag. So just share your journey, your thoughts, joining us here this week. We've been so happy to join you. Megan, any words to wrap up this session?
No, it was just fun, and make sure you keep watching the channel because it's going to, lead us up into 2024. So just because the show is over doesn't mean the work is done. We need to keep coming together, collaborating, and making sure that we start closing the skills gap. So don't go anywhere, though, because we have one final segment.
One more to go.
It's all of us left over coming together for one last time.
See you soon.
Appreciate it.
Awesome.
Thank you.
What's up, everybody? So it's the last day of IMTS 2022, and let me tell you something. It's been one crazy ride, one fantastic week. We had so many wonderful influencers in the Creators Lounge here in 338-600. We had so many great demonstrations of the wonderful technology that's out here. And now we got one last final segment for you all to talk about our most memorable moments. And whose idea was this? What is this? What is this? So we want to thank everyone who joined us for this long ride. We laughed together. There were some tears that we shed. We ate too much. Some of us drank too much. And we lost sleep. And our feet hurt really bad. But we did it. We're at the end. So come on, join us in the Creators Lounge for one final time and hear what we love the best. Come on. Woo! Hi, James. Hi, Charlie.
Hey.
How are y'all doing?
Come on in.
Are you excited? This is the last Influencer Insights. What are you looking forward to when you are done here? What's the first thing you're gonna do?
Oh wow. Well, I want to say go Cubs. Can I say go Cubs?
You can say go Cubs.
Absolutely playing today. So go Cubs,
Go
everybody.
Cubbies!
Oh my goodness.
I'm gonna get a
crazy.
tall glass of wine when I get home. I'm gonna hug my babies. Thank
Yes,
you.
you do deserve it. That's right.
You do deserve it.
You deserve it too.
Bring the house down.
Yes.
Wow.
I'm gonna get a tall glass of wine. I'm gonna hug my babies because I haven't seen them in a week. So they're missing me. They asked if I was coming home or if I didn't love them anymore, and I said I love you. They're like, where have you been?
Oh my gosh.
Well, don't look at me. I'm not going to be home until Tuesday, so mine are still going to be a little mad at me. But I'll do some FaceTiming with them for sure.
Oh my goodness. I think this is just the theme. So many folks have given so much time to be here at IMTS and in the IMTS Plus Creators Lounge. And as we wrap up this session, I just have nothing but just gratitude and for everything that's happened this week.
Well, I think you
it's been
have
wonderful.
to really, I mean, you see it in a different light. You have put this together. It was like a brainchild of yours that you brought in a team to help you with, right? So what can you say about your team? There's so many people here that I just met for the first time, but you brought us all together.
Well, it was something that started last year, and people don't work for anyone. They or a business. They work for their families, their passions, those who they love, and the causes that are close to their heart. And that's part of our Work for Life manifesto. And as we've been here and seen all these people here working for their families, it's just been wonderful. And this short time that we've spent together on this production on the floor, arriving Saturday, it's been the formation of what I see as a new family. And with that said, I don't think we could do any better than to bring the family into this room so that we can really get to know them a little bit as we wrap up.
Absolutely.
And
Come-
share
Let's do
our
it.
manufacturing story here in the IMTS Plus Creators
That's
Lounge.
right. Come on in.
So we want to
Yes,
invite
come on
the
in and
crew.
join
Come on
us.
in, y'all. Come the crew. We want to bring in the
I
team.
have so many questions to
Oh
ask
my
you.
goodness.
I
And-
want to know. I want to know the tea, as
Yeah.
they say. I want to
And-
know the tea.
And we also, you saw some big heads in here before we started, but I just want to thank Fabian Allefeld with EOS, the Additive Snack Podcast, Mitch Free. He's the host of season 2 of Tooling Up. He's in here, and he's actually had to go out there and fly out to serve a client. And Scott McKenzie, Industrial Talk podcast and show. You probably saw him and Susie here this whole week. Wade Anderson, Shop Matters, the Akuma branded podcast. We've had some fantastic influencers and so many great creators, and we miss you. But we also want to give a special thanks to the hostess with the mostest, the
Mary
mistress of
Hines.
mischief. Mary Hines. I mean,
She was fantastic.
what a special, delightful.
She brought the energy every
human.
single
We
time.
love her to death.
I hope I did you proud today, Mary.
I can feel her. Hold on. Wait. Yes.
Yes,
She
she's
said
here.
yes.
She's
You
here.
did.
Feel the vibes. And she says like some serious philosophy all
She
week.
did. She had some great
like,
quotes.
what? And just a little bit about Mary. Mary is someone who wears her heart on her sleeve, and she's just brought something very special about what Mary brought. And I encourage anyone who's been here along the journey, or as you look at IMTS Plus, this content is at least a year's worth of content will be out there for everyone to see, and you're going to get a chance to meet everyone who's come into this room, whether it's a creator, it's a podcaster, it's someone in manufacturing, and we really encourage you to get to know these folks because they all have great stories to tell. And Mary in particular brought this innocence. We very specifically wanted someone who was funny, entertaining, improv.
Yeah,
Second
she brought
City,
the arts, right?
and she brought that innocence where let's own the fact that she was not initiated to manufacturing, but she discovered more fully her manufacturing story in her family, and her father's an engineer. So that's what it's all about. And so I want to start welcoming the crew. Noah, if you can get out here.
He's behind you.
Austin.
He's stuck in. He's stuck
Austin.
in.
Where's Austin? Noah. Gosh, you're a ninja.
Yeah.
And so
Do
just
we want- yeah.
kudos to Noah with corporate streams. You've got Justin and Austin's probably like holding up the fort. Industrial Studios in the house. We've got Jason here, and we've
Here he
got
comes, here he
Jesco
comes.
with Industrial.
Austin.
All
He
part
has
of the Industrial
arrived.
Strength Marketing team.
We're pulling the goalie right now.
Oh my goodness.
We
Yeah.
hope this is still recording. We think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I think nothing goes wrong in the back.
So
Yeah. Hey,
so
everybody.
everyone has had enough of us. What do you think, Charlie?
Yeah,
Yeah,
let's
I
pass the
think
mic,
so.
right?
Again, enough of us.
So can I ask a question for them?
Sure.
please?
Yeah. No. Don't. I'm just.
So
I'm
I
just-
want to know your favorites and your least favorites of this whole experience, because IMTS is a really big show, and I've worked with people in video before, and the back end stuff that they do is incredible, and I know there's stressful moments, and the video crews that I used to work for, they would always go drinking afterwards, and rightfully so. So I just want to know what your best and least favorite moments were.
Oh man, how much time do we have? No, my favorite moments are the magical times where you guys sparked that conversation and you just fed off of each other, and you could just tell that there was a moment happening there, or like a connection point where people could just have that conversation. We created that space, right, that people could come in here and have that intimate moment, and also just be relatable and connectable, not just to this industry, but to people outside of this industry, and the people that you guys bring in, and the conversation that you guys had. You were fire starters, and that was exciting to see and be a part of, but also just to help facilitate. And it's been such a fun partnership. Even though yes, there's been long hours and lots of moving parts, we've just really thoroughly enjoyed the experience the whole time. So.
Goodness, I'm gonna start getting.
Yeah, I agree. Coming in, I could just feel the energy flowing through. And I love that we were able to capture those moments where, we can see where the inspiration comes from. And that got me excited about, jumping in on the project. Like Noah said, with the long hours and everything like that, it made it worth it. And I just had a blast every day.
So, came together, long hours, make it happen.
And we made it happen.
Oh, that's fantastic. And
What did you think?
I did want to go back.
oh yeah.
Couple of things for me was I got to roam the floor and actually see more of the actual stuff going on out there, and just seeing the excitement that people had was amazing. And what we're doing here, and the interactions that they were having with Mary, our host, and just the positivity about the whole process of what we're doing. It was really cool to get to see.
Awesome.
And then you were wanting a negative, and I mean, there's just always going to be stressful times whenever you put on a production like this. And I think that the whole team here is really just kind of stuck together and pushed through every single one of those, which was pretty amazing. So
I think we all gelled pretty fast. And,
Yeah.
I think that was one of my favorite parts about it.
So,
I gotta say my favorite. I wasn't gonna say anything. I'm not a huge camera person.
I don't know if that one's on.
yeah.
I don't know if that's on.
I'm not a huge on-camera personality, but I do want to say that my absolute favorite part of this whole conference has been all the amazing people all of our influencers, our team. I mean, coming together and putting on this production has just been, and oh my gosh, the AMT team.
Yes.
I
Oh
love
my goodness.
everyone on that team. So
Oh.
that's my big positive. So thank you guys. Thank
Thanks,
you all.
Jessica. Thanks, Jessica.
Favorite part?
Sorry, I was running, so repeat the question one more time for me.
Austin?
Favorite, and not so favorite part of this whole entire week.
Okay.
Running
Says
back
the
and
runner.
forth.
It has been a lot of running, but it's been good for my cardio. My favorite thing about this week has been I haven't heard about these stories that these manufacturers and fabricators have. And for me to see the human element behind this and for me to be a part of the team to bring the human element to the foreground has been incredibly fulfilling for me because you don't get to see these faces. And I got to see these faces. I got to be a part of the crew that did that, and it means a lot to me. The thing that I don't like as much is that I wish I had Justin's job because I haven't seen that much of the convention. I've been holed up here, and the people that come through is my exposure to the entire convention, which has been incredible because we've had such a wide breadth of people coming by. But I do wish I'm very envious that you got to go and see it all in person.
I'm very glad that I was the person that got that. Nothing against you. I just had a great time. So
We did have to carry the pack, you know.
I live vicariously through your experience.
I did want to mention our fearless leader who got sick.
Jim.
James, you want to tell a story about this wonderful man here?
Well, I think you tell the story better. But so Jim has been working Jim Olin, the fearless leader, VP of creative and production and all things magical, branded entertainment and storytelling. Jim Olin. He got, after almost 2 months of hard work, sleepless nights, this production, rainwater falling down through the ceiling as we were setting up this exhibit, going into the fans, all of that craziness, made it all the way up to last night's dinner, and he had a tap out. He had strep throat, tested negative, but it was like, hey, the team's got it. And But Noah, there's we heard some interesting things. Like, it's really not Jim Olin, right? So what? So
Yeah,
what,
but we're gonna miss that sweet pants. You know, that's
So-
the nickname that stuck with him.
Yeah. So Sweet Pants, if you are watching the live stream, we want to let you know that we miss you, we appreciate you, and this would have not been the production that this would have been without you. It was well beyond any vision. I thought we'd be in front of a TV screen with a podcasting table, visiting people, and look at what we produced. But what's interesting about the Sweet Pants in that Jim Sweet Pants Olin is all about was that, what was it? He was at a bar.
Yeah. Okay, so Jim, forgive me if I messed up your story. So he's at a bar. He parked. Yeah. He parked incorrectly, and a cop came by, and so someone was like, "Hey, you're getting a ticket." So he sprints out the door, catches everybody's attention. He goes out there, and he's like trying to talk himself out of that, and the cop goes, "Sit down, Sweet Pants," and the name just stuck. So
I'm really
that's
disappointed
a Chicago
I
name.
didn't know that
Yeah.
ahead of time.
So
because I would have definitely
Yeah.
been saying, "What's up, Sweet Pants?"
yeah, I know. 'Cause somebody says Sweet Pants to people, people can get really offended. You're not going to say that, but he is the Sweet Pants according to the Chicago Police Department.
That's awesome.
So as we I guess wrap up, right? The whole question that the IMTS Plus Creators Lounge has been about is, what's your manufacturing story? And Charlie, what's
Yes.
been your manufacturing story here?
My manufacturing story is to tell other people's story, right? To go around, get them excited about what they do. So I think that we all do this, right? We think our job is really not that cool. It's not that important. It's just what we do. But to be able to go around and say, "You're amazing. Can you tell me about what you do?" Right? Or tell me about what you do, and then you're amazing, right? It has really been fun. It's really been eye-opening. But my story really is just being able to hear those things, hear them from children to parents to grandparents, that, I mean, I've heard it all, just how exciting they are to be in manufacturing, and what is it going to be, in a couple years, what's that going to look like? Next time we're back at IMTS, what is that going to feel like? What did we miss, or what are we going to gain in that time? And I'm just excited to be able to tell those stories and share those stories. So not about me, not about us, but about everyone together. And I think we're kind of doing that, right, as a team. We're showcasing it. I also I'm filled with role models. And Jessica, I know you said you weren't much on camera, but I have to give you a shout out, because before we got here until now, like the pre-work that you helped me with, I'm not that process detail person most of the time. She just, I'd ping her. And I think it's because I looked up to you, and then I see you here, and you are just, doing so many different things behind the scenes. And I got to watch you, and I'm like, wow, we can really do a lot of things. And so I just want to thank you for being that role model for us. And I hope that other people had that same experience, right, of watching people and seeing themselves in other people while they've been here. So that's it.
Yes. Megan, what's been your manufacturing story here this week?
Here this week, I think, is the kids. It's part of my manufacturing story. So I was not expecting to meet Sailor, who's that 10-year-old girl I met in East Hall. Was not expecting to meet her. Was not expecting her to, I invited her to the main stage for the panel discussion. Didn't know if she would actually show up. So when she did, that just warmed my heart, because it shows how we interact with the youth is really going to make a difference on whether or not they're going to come into this sector and pursue career pathways. And I just see so many manufacturers missing the mark in terms of actually interacting with the next generation. You need to talk to them. You need to ask them questions. You need to engage with them and have conversations and be interested in what their passions are, because the more we nurture that curiosity, the better chance we have of them actually pursuing their passion. So we have to be that light of hope for them. We have to be those mentors and those influencers and role models for them. And we can't do that if we're not directly talking to them. So if you see a kid walking around on the trade show floor, it doesn't matter how old they are, smile at them, wave at them, say, hey, how's it going? Hey, do you want to check this out? Hey, do you want this swag? Talk to them first before you talk to the adult that's with them. Get on their level, kneel down. That's what I did with Sailor, and she's going to remember that for the rest of her life. We had 4 girls come by the booth. Just us paying attention to them and noticing their existence made them feel special, and they came back because they really wanted information about how to be connected. So if you're ignoring those kids, you're ignoring your future workforce, and you're going to be in trouble.
Wow. That has been, that one aspect has been the most rewarding part of this. Is we've had there's a little bear, you can see the glass up, but there's been literally children being lifted up to peek in, and a young gentleman, a future, right?
That's right, literally lifted up, right? To look in here and really state, I'm going to be an engineer. Wow, it was amazing to see that. And
he says, I want to be an engineer. What was he, 5, 6 years old, or 7, maybe a little older, but
definitely not over 7.
Yeah, so that, just to see young people all across the board of all ages coming in here and having a whole new view of manufacturing. And part of the IMTS Plus Creators Lounge is all about telling the stories, and it's really about the people. There's so much opportunity to learn about the technical aspects of what we do, and how manufacturing and how engineering, like I've said it over and over again, creates things that never existed before. But it's really the people that this is all about. And when you look at this team of diverse people, we decided right off the bat that we want, when you can create something, when you start something from scratch, an AMT, to their credit, creating the IMTS Plus, you get to decide what its values, what the mission is, what are the values, what do you want to see reflected now, as well as what we aspire to be. And in building industrial studios, with Jim and Jason and the team, the whole goal right off the bat is, let's build something that speaks to who we are and who we aspire to be, And that's why, I reached out, I think, Charlie, to you first, Megan next, and then Fabian, because we wanted a fantastic German accent and hair. And then Mitch, who represents, so much. He's such an innovator, and Wade, stalwart in machining, and all the great characters and personalities, and Scott, and it's just been fantastic, and that's what it's all about. And so when you guys think about this 2 years from now, the IMTS Plus Creators Lounge, what's happening in terms of all of these manufacturing creators and storytellers, like
well, I've already seen it.
What,
I've already
what do
seen
you,
it while
what does
we're
it
here.
look like in the future?
Yeah,
right?
so it's people waiting, like looking in and saying, I want to tell my story. Did you know about this? And this is what I do, and so I think we've already gotten people excited about it today. So fast forward, we're going to have, maybe have a compact run of show, maybe pre-planning. Jessica, I know will appreciate the pre-planning on getting interviews in.
It will start before 60 days next time out.
Yes.
Trust me.
But that's it. It's going to be, and we need that. We need people to be telling their stories, sharing their stories with all of us. So we'll be ready, won't we? Avenger team.
Megan, what do you think? Like, what will IMTS look like on the floor in terms of storytellers, creators, heck, even the IMTS Plus Creators Lounge?
I'm hoping and I'm always going to go back to this, I'm hoping we focus more on some of the Smart Force Summit and get more kids involved with this, because there are future creators. I'd also like to see, I know Mary did some of this on the trade show floor, but maybe while talking to some of the booth members, have that part as one of the show where they're actually showcasing like what technology they're bringing in. I know Mitch brought up this new CNC machine that he brought where the spindle comes from the bottom. Like that would have been really cool to show on camera, and as you're showing it, hear the story behind that innovation and why he thought of that design and what the value is that design brings to their customers. So getting more of that I would like to see in 2024, but definitely getting more kids involved and excited and ask what they like creating and how it applies to what modern day manufacturing is.
I know, absolutely. No, I know you're just geeking out knowing technically, like how we talked about doing that, like, getting some streaming from the cloud and being able to capture B-roll. Like, so like what would, from a production standpoint, and as a creator, what do you think, that how that story could be told 2 years from now?
I love that. And having the touch point on the floor and having the creator or the person we know well take us on that journey and experience that is going to be huge. From a technical perspective, we're going to be in the future adding more connectivity from the floor. So we'll have what's called a bonded cellular device. So it'll take multiple SIM cards and turn it into a single internet source. And then we can take that back to our base camp, right, what we're doing here. And so we could pitch it to a group on the field, right, a field reporter. They can go out and do their thing. Or if we had two teams doing that, we could bounce back and forth. So instead of just having the content from this one base camp or this spot, we can send it out to different groups and have multiple elements, kind of like what Mary was doing, but at the next level, right?
Yeah.
And integrating more tech. And what
Four Marys? That would be magic.
What it comes down to for me is just making sure the tech fits the need. And it sounds like that would be a good fit, is having that cellular connection or that bonded connection on the floor so that we can have in real time both the booths around the booths on the ground and then high quality interviews from the space camp area.
So I could just I could hear a Maryism like we will have like a cellular connection of love, So Jason, so what do you think? Like if you look at like how are we going to be telling stories from an editor's point of view, and literally thousands of layers of editing, and how many unique sets of content pieces did you create? Hundreds and hundreds.
Yeah, it was over 150 pieces of content that's just going in loops and opens and everything like that. And I think look forward to creating more high energy graphics that can speak to all the great things that everybody is doing here. So I think that it's just sky's the limit for that, and having everyone contributing ideas of like hey, it'd be great if we did this and it'd be great if we did that and try that, like staying open-minded to what that could look like. I think 2024 could be
absolutely
amazing.
So like you guys are the creators too, so I'm thinking of it also on the floor. I think it's going to be a completely different game I would not be surprised to see so many more of these brands being their own publishers, having their own studios, launching their own podcasts. I think this place will be slammed.
I won't be surprised, honestly, if we don't see something like this in like more spots in 2 years.
Organically, I think it's going to happen. And what that does is, you got to make your way of doing things or doing business or living your life obsolete before generational technology, market forces or the competition does. And so for me, as I think ahead to 2022, like, how are you as a creator and doing your shows? And like, it's going to be a totally different game. And it's scary, but it's so cool, because it's just, I hope it's not just like this. I hope it's even better.
There's something about that. You've inspired everybody to get started, even if they're not sharing their story as of today. They want to share it in the future. But there will always be a new company, a new story to tell. And so we don't have to worry about, running out of these stories or running out of companies that we can work with. We have inspired them to start. And so I think it's going to be wonderful to see. The amount of energy that I've already seen and people creating stories just by walking up here saying, I want to in on that. So you're going to see them get behind the technology. We're going to need some help, right? And we can be there and support them in that.
Yep. So as we kind of wrap up our thinking in this session, and I honestly don't want it to end. We won't make it run on for you in the audience. But as you really think about leaving now and us going back home to our babies and families, which is awesome, what is the one resolution, in one word? And this is from Mary, little thing we like to do. What is, in one word, the one or one short phrase resolution that you have coming out of here?
Influence.
Collaboration.
You stole my word. Well, let's collaborate on that now. Oh, man. Yeah, that's a good one. I'll stick with that.
2 for collaboration.
Inspiration.
Strong bonds.
And because we're at IMTS, innovation.
Ooh. Bringing it.
For me, my father used to say, there's a whole lot of love in this family. And my resolution is love. This has been a labor of love. It has been nothing but an honor and a privilege to be here with you and all of these great people that we've met along this journey. And I'll tell you, as we look at the body of work, that we have in our lives, and next year will be the 20th anniversary of Industrial Strength Marketing Family of Brands. I'm going to put this right up there as one of the best things I've ever done, and it's not me that I've had the privilege of doing with the industrial team that has come here to support us, the families that have made way for us, and our loved ones that have made way for us, and for the patient wives, Mary, they had Jim had an anniversary that he, I know business and life is sacrifices. So we honor and celebrate everyone, the power and potential of men, women, people from all walks of life, to change the world for the better. So for you in the audience, we hope you just heard, like I end my show on the Industrial Strength Marketing Show, I hope you just heard one thing that inspires you to better those who design, make the move, the world, including yourselves. So thanks everyone. Thanks AMT. Thanks Charlie. Thanks Megan. Thanks crew at Industrial Studios, Corporate Streams, all the great creators. Who am I missing? Mary,
Steve,
Jim,
Fabian,
Mitch, Scott. Oh my gosh.
Susie.
And Susie, yes, right. Yeah, the rock around Industrial Talk. But thank you for watching us. We really hope to see you. Follow everyone here. Everyone needs the follows. Follow all the creators, because if we do that, we can create a community, and we can elevate each other, and we can keep this conversation going. We will see you very soon, sooner than you think, in the IMTS Plus Creators Lounge.
Bye,
See you
everyone.
soon. Bye.
Bye.
Let's go boom. Let's go boom.